Do you ever wonder how much we base our lives on stupid movies or stupid movie plots? Like the nerd is a nerd, but then he makes this crazy change or goes on some sort of hero's journey, and then he rides off with the girl into the sunset because all of a sudden he's cool. Um, I think about this a lot, and I think about it a lot because I think that popular media and popular society tend to try to impose these images on individuals. And we as individuals, a lot of times, if we can't fit into one of those specific categories, then we feel somehow empty, or we feel like we're not doing what we're supposed to be doing. There's this idea out there that everybody has to be happy, that everybody has to be completely happy and content with what they have. Well, here's the thing. If you're content with what you have, then what's the incentive to improve? And there is no human being on this earth. I don't care how rich you are, how good looking you are, how fit you are. There is no human being on this earth who can't improve, who can't make some facet of their lives better. Right? So I think for those of us who are less than happy, or who have lives that are not necessarily perfect, one of the problems is that we look at this kind of thing as a happy life, and it seems so intangible to us. But the problem is, it is, you know. And who the hell wants to be perfectly happy, right? Like I said, you'd probably get tired of it pretty quickly. And think about all the things that you have in your life right now, right? So if you're watching this, you probably have a computer or you have a smartphone or something. And if you have a computer or a smartphone, it probably also means that you have a roof over your head, or at least a car to, some place to charge up the phone, right? And that also probably means that you have food to eat. There's a lot of people in the world who don't have food. There's a lot of people who don't have shelter over their heads. There's a lot of people who don't have smartphones. How stoked would they be to change positions with you, to switch places? Probably pretty stoked, right? But the thing is, we take it all for granted. We take so much of that for granted, and we forget to be grateful. We forget our gratitude. The problem is that because we live in this world where so much of the human story is told to us by other people, so much of the human story is told to us by the media, so much of the human story is told to us by TV shows, popular culture, it makes us think that our lives need to be perfect, that somehow there's this thing called happiness out there that we have to get. And in a lot of ways, with the situation with veterans, that makes it almost unfair for us, because this whole idea of PTSD as a disorder, it's really based on an idea that somehow we are less human than anybody else who hasn't had that kind of experience, who hasn't experienced that kind of reality. But that's the thing. That is reality, right? The world is a tough place. The world is a place where things die. The world is a place where things get completely screwed. But in our society, we hide our dead bodies in funeral homes. We don't even really, few people have ever actually seen the inside of a slaughterhouse to see how their food dies. And very few people actually hunt and gut their own food. So that's always been my point here on this channel, is one of the biggest things that are unfair to veterans right now is that people look at what bros are going through and they look at them as being some sort of distorted human being, some sort of broken individual. And it's not. You know, if you've been through something like that, you're probably in touch with parts of your soul, parts of your mind that most people have never been in touch with, which makes you different. It doesn't make you abnormal. It doesn't make you less than human. But here's the thing. You don't have to be happy, right? I told you, you don't have to be happy. You probably don't want to be happy all the time. You want to go for temporary happiness with certain things where you can find temporary satisfaction, things that make you happy for a little while. But that's not going to be a permanent thing, right? Because again, none of us are perfect. There's going to be certain things in our lives that are imperfect. So we're going to try and work to improve those. But none of that gives you a license to be miserable. And the difference between being miserable and being not happy is that miserable people never think they can be happy. I mean, they forget all gratitude. They forget the fact that they live in a house. They forget the fact that they have a smartphone. They forget the fact that they live in a modern society where you could pretty much find food pretty easily. You don't have to walk, 100 miles to move your family, friends, everything like that. Not happy people are people who know that they can work to be happy. They're people that know they can push themselves a little bit more to find something that temporarily satisfies themselves, to find something that allows them to find a purpose in living, right? Because if you're miserable, then you just think the world is against you. You blame everybody else. You don't blame anybody but yourself for your problems. But if you're not happy, you understand that your problems are there and you work to solve your problems. And that's the key difference. If you're trying to search for happiness, it's a search in vain. There is no happiness out there except for these fleeting moments of satisfaction that I talked about. But if you're searching for a better life, then I think the key is in understanding that non-happiness, understanding where it comes from, and then working on that which is making you unhappy. And a lot of this, like I said, is harder than what I'm saying it is. It takes a lot to do self-analysis. It takes a lot to try to understand yourself and to really figure things out. And I'm not there yet. I'm not perfect. Dude, if you knew my life, you would understand that I am so on the journey with you guys where, there's a lot of aspects of my life that I need to improve upon. So many. But I put the work in. And that's what gets me up in the morning. That idea that somehow tomorrow I'm going to do something to try to make myself better. And I screw up and, my girlfriend gets mad at me for screwing something up in the house, but I know that I'm working, trying to make things better, trying to push to improve myself. And as long as you're doing that, then you're not miserable. But being miserable or having problems is not a license to be miserable, because being miserable means you gave up. Sorry for rambling. I hope you guys are all awesome, and I hope you guys are all pushing. So I'll talk to you all soon.